Ashish Prashar is the former advisor to the Middle East peace envoy and political strategist to the Joe Biden campaign. He joins me live from New York. Ashish, good to see you. So, a promising development, but evaluation is still ongoing. What's the likelihood a ceasefire could be reached?
I mean, the ceasefire proposal, term sheet, whatever we are to call it now, does not guarantee the end to the Israeli occupation's current genocidal campaign of Gaza. And Hamas, rightly so, should have reservations. Any deal must end this genocide right now. The problem here is the occupation can restart the genocide after receiving their prisoners and face no penalties for doing so, much like they did, as your colleague mentioned earlier this year. Netanyahu has already set the stage for this as well. He accepted Witkoff's outline for a ceasefire, but he immediately leaked it to local media and said that it won't mean a permanent end to the war in Palestine. He's already sabotaging it in daylight, and he's doing his usual routine and actively encouraging Hamas to reject the proposal. Couple this with the fact that we know the occupation's population doesn't really want an end to this. Some 82% of them want a final solution and continued ethnic cleansing of Palestine. After all, we're only here because the occupation itself breached the last ceasefire and has continued to support the occupation's genocidal onslaught of Gaza. What Witkoff and co have offered the resistance today isn't a ceasefire proposal. It's tantamount to a surrender deal because there is no commitment to that permanent ceasefire. There's no full withdrawal from Gaza. As a response, Hamas is in a very difficult position if they agree to what is a political and material surrender for Gaza and the cause, or they reject it and the horrors of Gaza and Palestine continue. And while we discuss this, the massacres continue. Since the end of the last ceasefire, Gaza has been a red zone everywhere. Nowhere is safe for Palestinians, and they are being starved by the Israeli occupation. What we need as an international community is to take this out of the hands of the United States and demand collectively a permanent ceasefire, an end to this genocide, an end to the occupation, a complete arms embargo with sanctions. And the Israeli occupation also now must answer to a global tribunal, must be held accountable wherever they step foot in the world. Every last Zionist who's played a role in this, what is now a Holocaust, because that's what justice looks like. If we don't hold each and every one of them accountable for it, nothing will ever be resolved here.
Indeed, Ashish, and certainly every sane person in this world is calling for a permanent solution to this problem, a permanent ceasefire, a permanent end to Israel's onslaught on the Gaza Strip. But the big question is, how do we achieve that? There were similar ceasefires in the past during the Joe Biden administration, only for fighting to be resumed, only for Israeli, what many would say, genocide to be resumed on the Gaza Strip. And then you have Donald Trump now trying to do something, but again, it seems to me he has not been very successful in the way he has been handling the situation in Palestine.
Well, the simple answer here is America holds all the cards. We already know from history that America could stop Israel at any point. We are known from the Israeli foreign minister just today that they cannot continue this genocide or occupation without American arms and American finances and American support. He articulated that in public today. He basically said it would be the end of the Israeli occupation if they cut off funding and arms. Well, that's all Donald Trump needs to threaten to do. The Trump team, led by Witkoff, has one card that they know will work and should use it. And if we want to talk about America, has it played this role before? Ronald Reagan, in 1982, pulled this card. He said, we will end your arms supply and we'll end support of you financially if you continue your onslaught of Beirut. And they pulled out of Beirut at that moment. The American government has the power to stop the Israeli occupation tomorrow if it chooses to. You have to ask yourself why the American administration doesn't want to do that, whether it be Joe Biden or Donald Trump. If they really wanted to see justice or they really wanted to see an end to this onslaught, they literally have to make one phone call and say arms are cut off and this is all over tomorrow.
Ashish, very quickly, let me add one more question here. Certainly, Donald Trump is someone who cares a lot about his public image. He likes people to like him, right? But when you look at the current dynamics, yes, and especially the way the global community is looking at Israel's ongoing onslaught on the Gaza Strip, many over the past 6 or 7 months have basically shifted their stance. People who were supporting Israeli actions in Gaza have now turned against those actions. Do you think that is possibly going to play a role in influencing Donald Trump to do something about it?
I think the one thing that influences, I think you hit it on the head straight away. Donald Trump cares about his PR. He does care about what people think of him, what they think of his role. He also cares about achieving things that his predecessors didn't, right? He always talks about he got a deal done that nobody could do before. He got something done that nobody could do before. We already know his obsession with trying to get a new Nobel Peace Prize. Like, would he try and force this? Look, he knows what to do to stop this onslaught to happen in Gaza. The reason European leaders are currently running away from the Israeli occupation is because their populations are watching children, women and men completely being starved to death by the Israeli occupation. And it's cut through so much in Europe. European leaders are worried about their own heads at this point and are basically running for cover and providing political cover so they could say one day that they stood up to Israel. When they saw the damage, when they saw the extent, that they actually stood up to Israel. The reality is, you and me know, and anybody who's worked in the peace industry or government knows, every European leader has known the extent of the damage, the violence, the barbarity of the Israeli occupation from day one. Everyone who's got a brain between their heads knows that every world leader gets those briefings and images every morning and knows what's been going on. The European leaders are trying to provide some narrative for themselves to actually show they actually cared about Palestinians. The difference between them and the Americans is the Americans, and like I've said many times before, Donald Trump is pulling the mask off. He's holding a mirror up to America. He's showing America for what they truly are, whether they are Obama, Biden, Clinton, Bush. America cares about itself. It cares about extraction. Its foreign policy is about what's good for the United States of America, nobody else. And the reality is Trump's just more honest about it than his predecessors. They do it in a better way and they dress it up as democracy. Trump just talks about it as business and what can the United States get out of it. And what we're seeing here is American foreign policy in all its rawest form. So I don't expect Trump to feel sympathy for Palestinians who are starving right now. He's going to look at the PR opportunity that what it gets for him. And if that leads to potentially a Nobel Peace Prize or something as audacious as that, that's what's going to trigger him to actually make a move to actually end this onslaught. That's why I said the rest of the international community needs to get together and force this on the Israeli occupation and take this out of the United States' hands.
Ashish Prashar, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.